플레이어 등록 진행 중. 카메라를 향해 웃어주세요. 등록이 완료되었습니다. 게임이 지금 시작됩니다.
Good day everyone, I am Jmar PR Saga, your reporter for today. And my topic is Drainable Mentally Retarded.
This is a mentally retarded teenager with only 5 years of age. Because I like football, the good coach kept him on the team as an assistant during a football game that was about to begin. A heavy rain began to pour because they're not students, so he's not eligible for the school bus. Kennedy was left alone in school, but he didn't come home. Instead, turn on the radio and wait until the game begins. Listening to the game broadcast, he finished the game with the players in the rain. Hear that team score, he ran happily in the rain. He is also depressed when a team loses points. In the end, the team lost the game. Kennedy couldn't have been more upset, faced the rules of the school. The coach felt guilty about not bringing Kennedy to the game. He was treated to his favorite burger and Coke, and promised him his next game. You can wear a team jersey, go on stage with the players. For Kennedy, there's nothing happier than that. In the game, he was too excited, and then he called out his team's tactics. That led to the players losing badly in the first half of the game. The players were furious. They lost their temper by throwing away the ball. Kennedy didn't know why, still smiling and taking the ball and returning it to the team. For his heartless performance, to make everyone laugh, the pair relaxed their minds. Back on the field again. I can't think of it, but I can't. Back-to-back scores, and finally managed to turn the tide, and won the race. The coach awarded Kennedy the victory ball, is very proud. With this year's fixtures over, the football team was also temporarily disbanded. That means he can't stay with the players anymore. Coach couldn't bear to watch Kennedy go back to his old self, so he thought about taking Kennedy to class with him, but it was rejected directly by the school board. They're not allowed a mentally retarded student in class with a student. The risk is too great. The coach had to think of something else. He took Kennedy to the basketball arena. He was interested in that basketball coach. He's happy where the ball is. He did his best on the basketball team. It's very popular with the players, and the coach took it easy because of the basketball team. The school agreed that he could go to class with his classmates, but tell him to be a regular student. You must listen to your teacher. Gradually, Kennedy adapted himself to school life. He made more new friends. He also worked as an assistant in basketball and the school announcer. The optimistic and cheerful state of mind also infected everyone, but it was also met with envy by some students. The guy who put him in the warehouse once again teased him, tricked him into the girls' locker room for moving stuff. He knows he made a mistake. He ran out in shock. The incident has had a nasty effect on the school. There's no guarantee for anyone. Would he have done anything more outrageous? Even though he didn't mean it. The school board still decided to suspend him from school. But misfortunes never come singly. Kennedy came home at night. His mother died unexpectedly of a heart attack. When the coach arrived, the house is in a state of chaos. Kennedy ran on the ground and wept bitterly. The coach came forward to console him, to enlighten him with heart. Looking at the wounded child in front of us, the coach carried him into his arms, tried to make him feel the warmth of being cared for.
Trainable mentally retarded child. So, the mental retardation or the term intellectual disability is gradually replacing the term mental retardation nationwide last September 3, 2013. So, instead na mental retardation ang term na ginamit, so pinalitan nila ito into an intellectual disability used to evaluate claims involving mental disorder in adults and children. And also, for the opposite and negative side or thought ng tinatawag nating mental retardation. Kaya pinalitan siya as or known as intellectual disability. Next is the mental retardation. Intellectual disability or ID, once called mental retardation, is characterized by below average and intelligence or mental ability and lack of skills necessary for day-to-day living. So, they are the people who are slow learners. So, below average yung kanilang intellectual capability or capacity. So, very slow. And also, take note that the people with intellectual disabilities can and do learn new skills, but they learn them slowly. So, they are very slowly to adapt or to learn. But take note, there are varying degrees of intellectual disabilities, from mild to profound. The term mental retardation is no longer used, and it is offensive and has negative tone. So kaya nga siya pinalitan o tinatawag na natin ngayong intellectual disability. Someone with intellectual disability has limitations. in two areas. There are intellectual functioning and adaptive behaviors or adaptive functioning. So, in intellectual functioning, also known as an IQ, this refers to the person's ability to learn, reason, make decisions, and solve problems. While adaptive behavior or adaptive functioning, these are the skills necessary for day-to-day life, such as being able to communicate effectively, interact with others, and take care of oneself. So, yun yung dalawang areas o dalawang bagay na kung saan sila ay nahihirapan o yung kanilang limitasyon once na ang bata ay mayroong intellectual disability. Next is, what causes mental retardation or the intellectual disability? Causes of mental retardation includes fetal alcohol syndrome and fetal alcohol effect, brain damage caused by the use of prescription or illegal drugs during pregnancy, brain injury and disease, and genetic disorders such as Down syndrome and Fragile X syndrome. So yun yung mga dahilan o mga sanhi kung bakit nagkakaroon ng tinatawag nating mental retardation or the intellectual disorders. So sa pag-take ng sobrang alak, pag-take ng illegal drugs o dosage of drugs during pregnancy, sometimes genetics or nasa lahi, nasa dugo. So yan yung iba't ibang dahilan kung bakit nagkakaroon ng mental retardations or mental retarded child. Next are the characteristics of mentally retarded child. Number 1, rolling over, sitting up, crawling or walking late. Number 2, talking late or having trouble with talking. Number 3, slow to master things like potty training, dressing, and feeding themselves. So those are the samples or characteristics, katangian na kung saan mapapansin natin ng isang tao ay mayroong intellectual disabilities. Next, number 4, difficulty remembering things. Number 5, inability to connect actions with consequences. Number 6, behavior problems such as explosive tantrums. And number 7, difficulty with problem solving or logical thinking. So, those are the characteristics o katangian kapag ang isang tao ay mayroong intellectual problems. Nililimitahan nito ang capability or capacity ng kanilang utak to think, to decide, to solve problems, and also some related physical movements or actions.
Meet Mary. Mary is a pretty typical 14-year-old. She loves to dance, listen to music, and she also runs on her school's cross-country team. You may not be able to tell at first glance, but Mary has had multiple shunt surgeries on her brain, which has affected her ability to comprehend multiple directions at a time. Mary's PE teacher has just given the class a large set of directions, which Mary has not fully comprehended, and she is unsure of what to do. At this point, Mary's teacher could quickly yell another string of instructions, which will probably compound Mary's frustrations. Or she could ignore Mary and let her do the activity incorrectly. Let's see how Mary's teacher handles it.
Mary, you look a little lost. Do you want to go over a couple of things?
Yeah.
Okay, you're going to be on Team Blue with your blue stick.
Bravo, Mary's teacher! Way to take control of the situation. Just like with Mary, an intellectual disability may not be apparent. Here are some other helpful tips when working with individuals with an intellectual disability. Consider how your information is presented on a daily basis. If it is only spoken once to a crowd of students, it may be challenging for some students to comprehend. Be sure to provide directions in alternate formats. For example, written words or pictures with step-by-step directions may be more helpful. Similarly, make sure that the student understands the task you have asked them to complete. He or she may have a desire to please you and therefore say yes or not acknowledge that they don't understand the activity. When learning a new task, be sure to provide all of your students sufficient time to learn that new task. Some students may be significantly slower learners than others. Multiple repetitions may be required. Some students may demonstrate a poor kinesthetic sense. This could create problems with the person's balance and gait, particularly when performing more detailed tasks.
Okay, take note that they are trainable, mentally retarded, or have an intellectual disabilities. So, natututo pa rin sila, but in their own way, or they are slow. So, yun lang yung pinakamalaking problema natin. Natututo sila, but sobrang bagal. So, one of the best way or practice na kinakailangan para mas madaling maintindihan ng ating mga estudyante is paulit-ulit natin siyang gagawin, practice it properly, and also step-by-step instruction o step-by-step process. And kapag meron naman tayong estudyante na halo sa ating regular class, dapat magkaroon daw tayo ng separate instruction o separate activities for able for them to learn and enjoy the class. Okay, that's all for today. Once again, good day and God bless.